Hello everyone, and welcome to a very important game for the chess history, for the chess world, and for us, the chess players. It's a game from 1973 Latvia Open Championship. It was played in Daugavpils, the second largest city after Riga, between Russian international master Vladimir Karasev and Rashid Nezhmetdinov. And at the time this game was played, Rashid was already struggling with his illness, and I don't know if he was already diagnosed with cancer, but if not, very soon. So definitely, it did take a huge toll on him, as he couldn't even finish this tournament. He had to leave the tournament without finishing it. So we're gonna come back to that for a bit after we check out this game. It's one of Nezhmetdinov's last great victories, and one of the last games he ever played. So Karasev opens with knight to f3, the Reti opening. We have knight to f6, c4, c5, and d4, the English opening, the symmetrical variation. We have pawn captures on d4, knight captures on d4, and now e6. Knight to c3, bishop to b4, attacking, pinning the knight, but also threatening to capture and double up white's c-pawns. And here we have knight to b5. Karasev now prevents the doubling of the pawns. And here, of course, you could go knight to d6 next move. If black doesn't do anything about this, you could capture here, and then white will capture back, which will basically give you nothing. You've given up the bishop pair without causing any damage. And one of the ways Nezhmetdinov could continue this is by playing d5. This would be a very nice sharp line, but a very forcing line which doesn't give anything. Instead, he castles here, and here we have bishop to f4, going after that d6 square. Nezhmetdinov now goes for d5. We have a3 attacking the bishop, and now bishop captures on c3. Knight captures on c3, and now d4, forcing the knight to react to this d4 push, and also keeping the king in the center, not allowing this e3 move. We have knight to b5, and now a6. A very interesting idea that allows Nezhmetdinov to create something. We have knight to c7 attacking the rook. Rook comes back to a7, and now you kind of do have to do something about this knight on c7. Here, knight to b5 was played, which is a small inaccuracy. Knight to d5 would have been better with the same idea. If pawn captures, then bishop captures here. Rook goes back, bishop goes back, and everything is fine. So this is basically the idea Karasev had when he played knight to b5, but unfortunately here it's not so great. Here Nezhmetdinov played a captures on b5, bishop captures on b8, and here probably Karasev was expecting rook a8 and bishop back to e5, but Nezhmetdinov felt that there was more to the position, that the opportunity has presented itself to create something, and Nezhmetdinov does not pass on an opportunity like this. So instead, b captures on c4. He gives up the rook on a7 to give up the exchange after queen to a5 check. And okay, you kind of do have to go for this. Bishop captures on a7, queen to a5 check. Only move is to block with the queen. We have queen to d2, and now queen captures on a7. So okay, Nezhmetdinov is down the exchange, but these two pawns are very powerful. The queen is also now guarding d4 from a7, and also the white king is still in the center, so you do have to do something about this very quickly. e3 was played immediately, trying to get that bishop into the game, but of course Nezhmetdinov doesn't allow it. d3. And now you don't really have a lot of options here. Your only option here to maybe even try to save this game is bishop captures. Rook to d8 doesn't work because of bishop captures on h7, capturing the rook. But after captures, okay, you now have a rook against a bishop and a knight, but maybe with 2 pawns on the queen side you could hope for something. But in the game, g3 was played, and now white is out of options. Here, Nezhmetdinov immediately goes for knight to e4, attacking the queen. We have queen to b4, and now comes d2 with check. King e2, and now comes queen to a6, threatening c3 with a discovered check. King to f3, now comes queen to c6, simply remaneuvering the queen, also now threatening discoveries. King has to go back to e2, and now comes queen to d5, keeping an eye on everything, and white really doesn't have a useful move here. Rook to d1, stopping that pawn from being pushed forward, but now comes e5. Again, a very nice idea. The bishop is ready to jump to g4. We have h3 stopping that, and now comes b6. b6, now you see that the bishop can also come into the game via bishop to a6, and then c3 will yet again be a terrible threat. Rook to g1. Now if the knight moves, at least the rook will not be attacked by the queen. We have c3. Now you do have to play something. Bishop to a6 is coming with check, and there's really nothing to play here. We have pawn captures on c3. There really was no better move. Knight captures on c3 with check, and it was in this position on move 25 that Russian international master Vladimir Karasev resigned the game. He resigned because there's nothing more to do here. It's a forced line. After the knight is captured, the king has nowhere to go. The pawn is guarding e1, queen is guarding f3, also d3. You do have to capture the knight, and then bishop to a6 is deadly. The king has nowhere to go. You have to give up the queen. After queen captures, it's a nice king walk, but it doesn't end well for white. Bishop b7 check. King moves, queen to g6 check, king has to move, queen h6 check, king moves, and now of course f5 finishes the game nicely with a wonderful checkmate. So yeah, that's the game from 1973 Latvian Open Championship, Vladimir Karasev versus Rashid Nezhmetdinov. And it's like Tal said in the quote above the board, as you can see. I am both sad and pleased that in his last tournament, Rashid Gibiatovich came to my home in Latvia. He did not take first place, but the prize for beauty, as always, he took with him. Players die, tournaments are forgotten, but the works of great artists are left behind them to live on forever. So Rashid did not finish this tournament, but he did win shared third and fourth place in this tournament without even playing all games, and this game did win him the brilliancy prize. So that's that's as Tal says it's always the same, regardless of who wins the tournament. The prize for beauty always goes to Rashid Gibiatovich and Nezhmetdinov. So yeah, that was the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another Rashid Nezhmetdinov game. Thank you all, and don't forget to mention Rashid to all your friends and show him a couple of games by him. See you soon.